starting with a short prologue in this film, namely, when humans are controlled by revenge, they will become devils, showing a man who is sharpening his machete, and we will see that the man is not an ordinary person, where he has slash wounds all over his body and even has various weapons, which is impossible if only used to cut fish. Wearing his cool jacket and also his cool car, he will travel to a place, turning to a Japanese mafia headquarters, let's call the leader of the mafia. He is Mr. Botak, who is scolding his subordinates because his work is not good, so Mr. Botak punishes him by ripping his mouth. Behind that, there is a silent figure that is not visible, secretly killing some of his subordinates who are out there. And yes, we will see that it is the cool man. He is the most skilled hitman in the city, named Sakata. With a cool appearance and a face that is 11-12. Handsome just like me. He was even able to finish off all his men alone, without even feeling any mercy. Don't forget, now it's the turn of the mafia boss, because he is the main target, and he will be finished off very brutally and cruelly. But when he turned around and was about to be shot by one of them, right behind him was his colleague named Fujita, who helped him. After finishing his job, Sakata felt very bored of slashing people. Maybe next he would just slash banana trunks and grass. Here he decided to quit his job, and preferred to live peacefully with his wife and child. Going home in the rain, he was greeted by his daughter and wife. This is where he will start a new happy life with them. After cleaning himself from the bloodstains, he heard his daughter screaming because of something. Sakata approached her, and suddenly he saw a mysterious group who called themselves Kimen-gumi, with members who mostly wore Japanese oni masks, which depicted creatures like demons from Japanese folklore. Sakata did not know who they were until they told him that they were a group of high-ranking Japanese yakuza who from now on would carry out their will in the city under the leadership of their group. They thanked Sakata for helping them in eliminating the mafia gang, which because Sakata had quit this job, they would soon eliminate him too, because Sakata was believed to be even more brutal like the devil. However, one of them deliberately killed his wife, and even his child was also killed by them. That was what made Sakata very angry. He swore to eliminate them all if there was another chance. And in the end, he was killed, shot in the head. National news also broadcast the murder tragedy, with explained that Sakata had killed his wife and child before he shot himself in the head, and this is Demon City. 12 years later, apparently Sakata is still alive, and now he has been released from prison because he was previously found guilty of killing his family. I don't know what power he has, so that he can still live and breathe fresh air, making it difficult for him to do anything. Fortunately, he still has good friends like Fujita, who asked his men to take care of and look after him. On the other hand, we will see the mayor in Shinjo City, Japan. In his press conference, he said that he was building an elite area called Maharoba, where the place is intended for local residents and tourists to come there, with them providing all worldly entertainment, ranging from cinemas, shopping places, restaurants, hotels, and even the first largest casino in Japan. A journalist asked the mayor a question, who asked about the 15% increase in missing people in Shinjo City several last year, and that includes several leaders of the opponent group to build Maharoba also disappeared, which mysterious incident can be answered by him. The mayor only answered, the incident would not have been possible if there was no evidence and also facts, so as long as there is no evidence, the journalist will be considered to have tarnished the reputation of this city.
警察がいつそんな発表をしましたか？風評被害が何をもたらすのか、あなたもよくご存知のはずでしょう。
Sakata, who was probably bored, was asked by Fujita to his men to take him for a walk. But when they were about to return, suddenly a man stabbed Sakata with a very angry feeling. Apparently it was a subordinate of the Japanese mafia who had faced him in the past. Now he wanted revenge because Sakata made his arm amputated, but because he saw him helpless, he finally left him. On the other hand, we will see the journalist who was asking someone about the Kimen-gumi group. Apparently, the person was also a subordinate of the Japanese mafia, whose mouth was previously torn. He told him about the Yakuza gang information under their leadership in order to get money, which is said that the mysterious group has hired a paid killer to finish off their Yakuza gang, to be able to take over all forms of business, starting from illegal drugs, human trafficking, and even the elite place that is currently being built. And it has something to do with the mayor. After giving him information, the person also got paid by the journalist. But when they were about to leave, right in front of them, there was a masked man who wanted to target them both so that the secret would not be revealed to the public. So they were both killed there too. On the other hand, we will see the chief of police who was reported by his subordinates. If they find Sakata, who was previously weak and helpless, is now being treated in the hospital. Apparently, the chief of police is the masked man who visited him 12 years ago. Hearing that Sakata was still alive due to the incident at that time, their leader deliberately kept him alive for some reason, which they really wanted kill him. But this time, the chief of police was really going to kill him. He took a liquid that he didn't know what it was, then injected it into his IV. At this moment, he wanted to immortalize Sakata's death slowly by taking his last photos. But suddenly Sakata woke up from his sleep, yes, even though he was still wilted. But here, we will be very surprised when he was able to throw him just by swinging his hand, and he tried to kill the chief of police. Suddenly, his men came while pointing a gun. The chief of police panicked because he didn't want anyone to know who he was. The chief of police killed one of his men, but apparently, another of his men was also their human being. And when he saw a doctor who had been watching them, the man approached the doctor and also killed him so that there would be no witnesses. Sakata got up again, and he was going to kill them both, even though he couldn't move, which is deadly, but it is enough to make his enemies unable to fight back. Until, finally, Sakata managed to finish him off with the abilities he still has as a very skilled assassin. When Fujita wanted to visit him in the hospital, surprisingly, suddenly Sakata was able to walk very persistently, and even when he remembered the incident of his family's murder, suddenly his body became very prime like before, and he was able to move freely. On the other hand, we will see a factory making illicit goods under the guise of a waste recycling factory, which is filled with female workers who only wear bras and kankuts. There it is led by a masked man, a member of Kaimengumi too. He is calling his partner who also manages their dark business, namely the human trafficking business through ocean crossings. Meanwhile, Sakata, he is now with Fujita, where at that time he received a message from Anonymous to ask him to kill Sakata and bring his body to him. Finally, Fujita did what the person said. Apparently, it was an order from the masked man, where they came to the recycling factory to bring Sakata's body to them and let his body be ground together the recycled trash. Here, apparently, Fujita is their puppet too. He who was previously thought to be good turned out to be able to do this too. But when that happened, Sakata suddenly woke up from the body bag and he was going to kill them all, including the masked man too. When Fujita was about to get out of there, their boss said not to let him escape because this was Fujita's trick too. Very dashingly and also very cool, Sakata was able to kill all his enemies until he reached the top to reach their boss, namely the masked man. Apparently, the masked man was already below, and he was very prepared to blow up their factory just to kill Sakata alone. Until he was contacted by his leader, who thanked him for being so willing to destroy his own factory. But we will see something very surprising, where Sakata is still alive and is still able to walk out. Even his body is not destroyed at all. From behind, we will see a car drove very fast and hit the masked man. Apparently it was Fujita, who was still alive and just wanted to help him for the second time. Here he told him honestly that he was their human being too, who had told him that Sakata already had a family. But without thinking, Sakata killed him too. Then, Sakata took the man to the harbor to be beaten to his heart's content, until the man would tell him where their boss was. But the man said that he would not tell him at any time, because even until death he would remain loyal to his boss. Until finally, the boss contacted him. So Sakata, who answered the call, was asked by him to end this crazy massacre, with him telling him that his daughter was still alive, and now she had entered her teenage years and was living happily as a high school student, where apparently the leader of the mysterious group turned out to be the mayor himself, named Sunohara, said if he did not immediately stop this massacre, then consequently he will do anything to his daughter too.
お前の娘生きてるよ。
せっかく生き延びた娘がどうなるのか。
The man was finally killed by him, and Sakata is now trying to find his beloved daughter. National news again reported on the news of the massacre of a doctor and 3 police officers who were killed in the hospital. Likewise, with the incident at the recycling factory, from CCTV footage, they said that Sakata had died due to the explosion that occurred. And the news was also witnessed by his daughter. Her name is Rio. Rio, who is now an adult, has long been cared for by another member of Kimengumi. Her name is Kanta. All this time, Kanta asked his boss to take care of Rio, and who knows what he did with him, but Kanta loves him very much and already considers him as a child. While Rio, who at that time he was going to hone his skills, namely in archery, when contacted by the boss, he was asked to find Sakata and bring him if he managed to find him. On the other hand, we will see a police assistant named Pa Takigawa, where after he finished work and was about to return to his apartment, he realized that there was something strange in his house. Apparently, there was Sakata who had been waiting for him here. Maybe they had known each other before, and even looked very close. Sakata also asked him to provide information about the chief of police that he had killed before, where he said Mr. Takigawa used to be his subordinate and they were very close. Until when he introduced the wife of the chief of police, he said that his wife sometimes sneaked out to investigate her own husband, who was said to be cheating, until Mr. Takigawa hired a reliable detective to spy on him, which he saw. Those people were killing rich people who had power until the detective was caught by them, and the chief of police gave a gift to Mr. Takigawa, namely his own wife's index finger, and asked him not to bother his wife that hearing. The story that they killed was the director of a security company, where the place was the security manager for Mahoroba, which was also where Kanta lived, and also Rio's daughter. Without enough equipment, he only brought a gun and a stick to meet his daughter, which even though he might have accidentally killed people who worked under their company, until Sakata found the place where his daughter was, but there, he didn't find anyone, except he was only fixated on a mating, which contained a photo album of his daughter from childhood to adolescence until now. Until Kanta went home there and saw Sakata in his house, even though he had brought a gun, he didn't show Rio that. He was a bad person. He just acted like a man who couldn't do anything and asked him to leave him and his child. However, Sakata, with feelings full of anger, he beat him and intended to finish him off here too. That's where he began to realize if Kanta was the one who had shot his wife dead before. But there, Rio didn't seem to know who his father was, and he had already prepared his bow and arrow, and would shoot him if necessary. After dropping Sakata down there, when he looked down, he didn't see Sakata anywhere. Luckily, he was saved by Mr. Takigawa, who took him to a place to be treated. Mr. Takigawa then pulled out his arrow and treated his wound with painkiller liquid, which he poured into his jacket. Don't open it yet, sir. Then he got a call from an anonymous person who was the mayor, namely Sunohara. He said he wanted to talk to Sakata, where he said if Sakata still wanted to see his daughter longer, then meet him in Mahoroba, and he would wait for him there. Without thinking twice, even though he was injured, he immediately accelerated his car to go to that place. But before that, he went to the headquarters where he kept all his weapons, to get the machete that he usually sharpened. With full courage, he came alone to save his daughter from the cruel people that started by tricking the guard by leaving his car while he had entered another room to at least finish off all the guards there. Not enough to stop there, he would also go up through the emergency stairs where on each step there were guards with weapons waiting for him. He was able to finish them all off without feeling overwhelmed because he was attacked by too many, until finally he met Kanta again, where Kanta invites him to a duel, which even though we know that he will also be finished off by him, it seems impossible if we think rationally. How could only one person be able to fight that many enemies? But look at this Sakata. No matter how many problems he faces, he will keep moving forward until he solves all his problems. Until then, he finally meets his daughter, but Ryo still doesn't seem to know who he is, until suddenly, he was beaten unconscious by the red mask. Sakata and his daughter then taken to the leader of this mysterious group, namely Sunahara. He admits his greatness even to the point of being able to get here without any injuries. He considers Sakata to be like a very brutal devil. To prove it, he asks Sakata to become a full devil and show him all his abilities, or else he will behead his daughter. Until then, Mr. Takigawa comes to help them, carrying a machine gun, and Sakata asks his daughter to run, and those words were what reminded him of his childhood. Ryo and Mr. Takigawa ran, while Sakata would face them all. Even though he was exhausted, he faced the red mask who was good at fighting using a stick. But when he remembered his wife, his strength recovered, and he was even able to finish him off there. Sano got down and approached his friend, where apparently, the man was his twin brother, but he was in a different condition, namely with a half-wound face. This fight will end with Sano fighting Sakata, where according to Japanese folklore, a Katanaya demon will possess someone every 50 years, and who of them will become the devil is Sakata, who is just an ordinary human with his skills and fighting abilities, or Suno, who is a criminal who has indeed allied with the devil. Until then, the fight began. Here it seems that Suno is far superior in his skills using a katana. He was even able to cut off Sakata's arm. Sakata, who already filled with anger and revenge in himself. He was like not himself. He was still able to stand, and even Suno acknowledged him as a resurrected devil, until finally, Sakata really proved that he had kept his oath to be able to finish them all. Sakata was finally able to see his daughter. Again, maybe after this they could be together again like before. But suddenly Kanta was still alive and shot him right then and there. He was not willing if Ryo was taken from him. Because of that, Ryo could still live until now. Ryo began to realize that he was not his father, because he was also the one who killed his mother before. But who knows where it came from? Sakata suddenly was behind him, and he slashed him from behind. Sakata was very happy to be able to meet his daughter again, but he apologized for not being able to protect his mother, with him hugging her very tightly. And this was the end of his life. He died in his daughter's arms. After the incident, the medical team was deployed to evacuate the victims who congratulations. While Ryo looks very sad about his father's death, even though he just saw him again for the first time after so long. When lifting the victims inside, it looks like there are still some who are still alive, and who knows who it is. And Ryo, who was invisible, disappeared from there. A year later, apparently the mayor is still alive. He tells the public about the bad incident he experienced at that time, but it turns out it's not the mayor we know. Apparently it's his brother Jin, who took over his brother's position and replaced him. Now he will replace his position as leader in the organization group, and return to carrying out the devil worship dance ritual, until it ends with Ryo coming. With his bow and arrow, he replaces his father to finish off the rest. And maybe that was the storyline of the Demon City film. Exciting, right? See you again in the next video.